just finished brewing up a cup of tea to tell you all some tea about my favorite Arab woman right here, Miss Statue of Liberty. Now you might be thinking, Noor, she is quite literally the symbol of America. What the are you on about her being an Arab woman? I am so excited that you asked, bestie. Let's get into it. This right here is the original sketch of the Statue of Liberty, which actually wasn't the Statue of Liberty when she was created, but rather a gift that was proposed to Egypt as the inauguration of the Suez Canal was happening. This article, published in 2017 by Architectural Digest, does a great deep dive into the history of the statue, which explains that she was originally modeled after an Egyptian fellahi, also known as peasant, woman. Not sure if y'all remember what was happening in 2017, but a certain orange man was president, and he was certainly trying to get rid of a certain group of people from entering the United States, which is actually what prompted this article to be published, and I think it's especially relevant right now. Since the late January order, thousands of Americans have taken to the streets and the international terminals of airports to protest what they deem to be a dangerous un-American act. More than a few have evoked the words written on the Statue of Liberty as a strong argument for why our country should admit those who seek safety, opportunity, or both. What many do not realize about the statue, however, is that it was originally modeled on a Muslim woman. The creator of the world's most famous statue was the French-born sculptor Frédéric Auguste Bartholdi. Apologies for my pronunciation, y'all. Before designing Lady Liberty, Bartholdi traveled extensively through Egypt, taking much inspiration from the colossal Nubian figures at Abu Simbel. As construction of the 120-mile-long Suez Canal neared completion in 1869, the Egyptian government considered erecting a lighthouse at the entrance to the waterway. Instead, Bartholdi submitted a design for an 86-foot-tall woman dressed in traditional Arab garb. He called her Egypt Carrying the Light to Asia. And as I mentioned at the start of this video, the Statue of Liberty is one of the most iconic and recognizable symbols of America, but I'm sure many of us have wondered why she's dressed in this wear, which is very honestly not American. But for those of us who are familiar with the Swana world and Muslim culture, we can see this as very traditional wear in that area, which is all starting to add up when we think about the history of this statue. This article from Reuters going even further into things. The early designs of this statue, per the work of scholars Barry Moreno and Edward Berenson, took the form of a veiled peasant woman. The proposed work was titled Egypt Carrying the Light to Asia, which we already covered. Berenson writes, quotes, Bartholdi produced a series of drawings in which the proposed statue began as a gigantic female fellah, or Arab peasant, and gradually evolved into a colossal goddess, end quote. The final rendering for this monument, Berenson notes, was perched on a pedestal in a loose-fitting robe holding a torch above its head. And what this image is right here is one of the early versions of the sketch prior to it being repurposed for the United States. The only real differences between this sketch and Lady Liberty that I can really see is that the headdress is a cloth rather than a crown, and that her hand is open rather than holding a book. Also just the size of the pedestal that she's standing on. But outside of that, my girl is serving Arab queen realness. Like, I don't even know how I didn't put this together when I was younger. I'm mad that I didn't learn this in school in general, but also just upset that I didn't try and connect those dots earlier, because I always thought that this robe was just I don't know, a stylistic choice by the sculptor. I didn't think obviously this looks like anything that one of my khaltos would wear in Swana. Also, I feel like our nosers are similar. Let's talk about it. Arab queen right here. Arab queen right here. According to the book, The Statue of Liberty, A Transatlantic Story by New York University history professor Edward Berenson, the Egyptians rejected Bartholdi's design, opting for a more cost-effective proposal. If the sculptor was disappointed, he didn't show it, as he quickly turned his attention to a bold new project in his native country, a gift from the French to celebrate the centennial of the American Declaration of Independence. By 1886, Bartholdi's Egyptian proposal was slightly altered to become Lady Liberty, the statue many Americans have looked to for over a century as a beacon of independence and freedom. And as pointed out by the Smithsonian article, which was also about the Lady Liberty's original origins, the United States has debated immigration since the country's founding, and the Statue of Liberty, a potent symbol for immigrants, is often invoked as an argument for why we should usher in those who seek safety and opportunity with open arms. A little-known fact about Lady Liberty adds to an intriguing twist to today's debate about refugees from the Muslim world, and then speaks about her being an Egyptian woman. And yeah, that's literally it. I just thought I would communicate this information to you all because I didn't know this history of this most iconic figure and symbol of America, arguably the most recognizable figure of America. Now, I was the first American child in my family, as I was the child of 2 immigrants from the Middle East, and I was always raised to be proud of my culture while also being very grateful to be born in America. And I just wish that younger me knew that Lady Liberty over here was actually one of us. We have seen time and time again as politicians and even American citizens themselves have spewed such horrible vitriolic hate towards the proposition of more immigrants coming into the country, which is ironic given the fact that this is a settler colonial state that was founded on immigration, but we're gonna get into that at a different time. But I bet that all of these people who are so rah 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 America don't even understand the roots of one of their most favorite figures. And I feel like that's the case for a lot of people that try and weaponize America nationalism, rah rah America, against people who are of diverse backgrounds. We're called a melting pot for a reason. I don't agree with that categorization, and I think a lot of people have gotten out of using that language, but the reason that we originally started using it is because we are a country made up of a large group of people from diverse backgrounds. It makes me so sad to know just how much of American history has been buried so deep down so that we don't know things like this from our past. Obviously, what we're normally hiding is even more atrocious things, but even something as medial and mundane as this could make such a huge difference for so many kids out there. Why don't we know this history? Why were most of us taught that she was modeled after the mom of the designer? Which factually is not true. We will do anything to whitewash our history. We will do anything to get rid of admitting what we're actually doing in this country. And it's important for us as citizens, as people of the world, to inform ourselves and to spread information when we do find it out. A huge thank you to my Egyptian Fellahi queen, Sara, for introducing me to this information and saying that I should make a video about it, because truly, my world flipped upside down last week when I found this out in the best of ways. I was just like, what? Maybe this is common knowledge and I didn't know about it, but every single person that I've told since I found out this information has been like, I had no idea that this was a thing. And I have been like, yeah, me neither. What the fuck? So anyways, if you ever see Lady Liberty being used in a hateful or bigoted way, just remember this fact, that she is actually an Egyptian Muslim peasant woman, okay? And for those of you who just want a fun fact, now you have a fun fact. I love a fun fact. And if you're ever going to visit her, say hi, say marhaba to respect her roots. I personally have never been. I moved to New York really recently though, so I'm definitely gonna plan to go visit her in person. Say hi to my queen. But yeah, anyways, here's a reminder that we don't know all the things that we think we know, including some things that we think we're very versed on. We're always gonna be learning about our history, and it's up to us to continue to spread this information. So I hope you learned something new today. Share this with a friend, and I'll be back with more fun facts later. Saho Henna!